Welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Greenville Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Peggy Baker, and I serve this congregation as the outgoing trustee on the Board of Trustees. Whether you have been with us on Sundays for a long time or are visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to our service. This congregation is diverse in beliefs with participation open to all who agree to embrace our covenant, mission, and values, regardless of your partisanship or lack thereof. We are a welcoming congregation to people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, races, ethnicities, and abilities. We unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self to our community of care, spiritual growth, and personal growth. Our congregational mission is to strengthen our connections to one another and our planet by enlivening minds and spirits, building community through liberating love, and advocating fiercely for justice. It is a custom of this congregation to acknowledge visitors and newcomers. If it is your first time here, would you mind raising your hand so that we can acknowledge you? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All are invited to join us for coffee after the service. New and newish folks are invited to grab a green mug located just inside the door of the fellowship so we can easily spot you and speak to you during our coffee hour. You are also welcome to fill out one of the gold cards located in the pew in front of you so that you can stay informed regarding all our activities. Simply drop the card in the offering basket or in the box at the hello table in the foyer. Please know that whatever your religious history, whatever your spirituality, all people of goodwill are welcome here. Your presence makes us better. Your presence makes us whole. Our service will now begin.
I like this chalice this morning using words from Leonard Cohen from his song Anthem. The birds they sang at the break of day, start again, I heard them say. Don't dwell on what has passed away or is yet to be. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Greenville Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, fondly known as GOOF, or the Fellowship, but I'm so glad everybody is here this morning. I especially want to welcome those that are hearing us or listening to us or seeing us online, and to our friends who are in Baltimore, getting ready to leave shortly to come back home here to Greenville. We wish you good morning, hello, and you were missed last week. I spent a good bit of my time looking for something to read for welcoming words. And right now I have Wendell Berry beside my bed. I have Marge Piercy in the living room, Jane Kenyon on the kitchen table. And I finally decided on someone I have loved for a long time, perhaps because she came from she didn't come from New England, but she lived in New England, and that was Mary Oliver. And the poem I'm going to read this morning is called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, and I will tell you about mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese fly high in the clean, light air, and they are heading home. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Please stand as you are willing and able, and we sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Oh, the red light is on. Does that mean something? Oh, okay, you can hear me. Excuse me. I'm not used to all these newfangled things. Anyway, it's story time, and children who would like to come down and listen to the story, or any one of you who are young at heart and would like to listen to the story, you're more than welcome to join me here. The name of our story this morning is Ish. There's some coming. Okay. Hello. The name of our story this morning is Ish. I wonder what an Ish is. Let's find out. Ish. Raymond loved to draw. He drew anytime, anything, and anywhere. Look at where he was when he drew anywhere. He loved to draw. One day, Raymond was drawing a vase of flowers, and his brother, Leon, leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What is that?" he said. Oh, my. Raymond could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Raymond. He kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. They never looked quite right. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Raymond put his pencil down and he said, "I am done. I'm not drawing anymore." But Marisol, his sister, was watching him. "What do you want?" he snapped at her. "I'm watching you draw," she said. Raymond sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumbled piece of paper. "Hey, come back here with that. That's mine." And Raymond raced after Marisol until he went to her room. Oh, he was really upset. He was about to yell, but he fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. They were covered with the crumpled drawings. "This is one of my favorites," Marisol said, pointing. "That was supposed to be a vase of flowers," Raymond said. "It doesn't look like it." "Well, it looks vase-ish," Marisol said. "Vase-ish," said Raymond, and he looked closer, and then he studied all the drawings on Marisol's wall. And he began to see them in a new way. "They do look ish," he said. And Raymond felt light and energized, thinking ishly, allowed his ideas to flow freely. He began to draw what he felt, loose lines, quick spinning, out and wavy. Excuse me. Raymond once again started to draw, and he drew the whole world around him, making ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, and spin-ish. He was so busy drawing. And then something happened too. And Raymond realized that he could draw in his feelings also. He drew in peace-ish, silly-ish, excited-ish. His ish art inspired ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. And one spring morning, Raymond had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. And he just decided not to capture it. Instead, he just savored it. Thank you so very much. I don't think this, well, I'm sorry. I missed a page. And Raymond lived ishishly ever after. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to make a call for offering. It takes me a little while to get where I'm going anymore, so I will get there. That's one thing about being a Unitarian. You can be different, and nobody minds too much. Oops. Thank you. The purpose of any church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting fellowship and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most generously received.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, your father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, the children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
It is our custom in this fellowship to share the joys and sorrows that shape our lives, honoring each one with the lighting of a candle. We all have moments of celebration and struggle. By sharing these experiences with each other, we can support and uplift each other on our journeys. The first one is from Debbie Plonky, and a big welcome to Audrey and Bob from the New York First Unitarian Fellowship of Rochester, who are here visiting their mother, Dottie. It's Dottie's 90th birthday. Happy birthday, Dottie. Muriel Hill Rowley had 2 surgeries this week. She's at St. Francis downtown and will do rehab before returning home. She's alert and still smiling. Phone calls, cards, and short visits are welcome, and that's from Mary Margaret. Thank you, Mary Margaret. This is really neat. Lynn and Clark Bell celebrated their 50th anniversary June 14th with their family up in North Michigan. 50 years, a mosaic of memories, love, and adventure. And that is from Lynn Clark, I believe. We will light a final candle representing all the joys and sorrows we present in our hearts and remain unspoken. We will now observe a brief moment of silence before the meditation words begin. Our guest speaker this morning is the Reverend Dr. Michelle McClendon. I've known Reverend McClendon for a long time now. She's a very special person. There's an insert in our order of service all about her. She's fantastic, fabulous, and she worked here in 2017 as our associate pastor. And I would like to introduce Reverend Dr. Michelle McClendon.
Let me just say briefly, it is a privilege to be back with you and to remember how special you are and how grateful I am for the way you are in the world. Our meditation words for today connect us to the concept of wabi-sabi. There's a Japanese philosophy called wabi-sabi, a philosophy that takes into account and appreciates the complexities of life and at the same time values simplicity. It acknowledges and appreciates three qualities in life: that everything is impermanent, imperfect, and incomplete. Instead of struggling with these realities, it looks to be at peace with them. In other words, saying what is. Nothing lasts, nothing's finished, and nothing's perfect, including ourselves. Wabi-sabi is a notion that is particularly fitting today, as it directly names imperfection as something to be appreciated and accepted rather than fixed. I want to begin with a disclaimer. I grew up squarely in the conservative Southern Baptist tradition. Now, before you pack up and leave, let me quickly say that I strive to be a lifelong learner, and that has helped me become somewhat of a religious nomad. I describe myself now as a member of the Church Alumni Association and consider myself a free-thinking devotee of the man called Jesus and others through the ages who are like him, speaking truth to power and calling for distributive and restorative justice. So you might call me a recovering Southern Baptist. I tell you this because, in keeping with my Baptist tradition, I want to take a quick poll. So, every head bowed and every eye closed. That's Baptist speak for don't peek. Okay? So close your eyes. Now, raise your hands if you are stressed by and exhausted from trying to meaningfully and effectively deal with the destructive and disorienting whack-a-mole reality that is our national life, while juggling jobs, families, and other demanding responsibilities of daily living. Come on, keep them high. Let me see. Good. Okay, you can put them down. Okay, now keep your eyes closed again. How many of you would admit to struggling with perfectionist tendencies either now or in the past? Okay, put them down real fast so nobody peeks. I ask you these questions because I'm living in the push me, pull you, squeeze between life's demands and my perfectionist tendencies. I find it increasingly difficult to hold these competing realities in tension without losing my sanity. So this sermon is an attempt to talk myself down off this ledge, and you get to listen in. In recent months, I have thought of Chinua Achebe's book entitled Things Fall Apart. Late in the book, in reference to the disruptive destruction of their native way of life by a white Christian missionary colonizer, one of the main characters says, "He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart." Sound eerily familiar? Especially after yesterday? Achebe lifts his book title from the poem The Second Coming, written in 1919 by William Butler Yeats. Listen to the opening stanza. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity and sometimes ignorance. Some 100 years later, this is an apt description of our current situation. Empires rise and empires fall. I won't unpack our current reality much more, except to note that Barbara Brown Taylor has a point when she says, "Beware those who claim to know the mind of God and who are prepared to use force, if necessary, to make others conform. Beware those who cannot tell God's will from their own. Temple police are always a bad sign. When chaplains start wearing guns and hanging out at the sheriff's office, watch out. Someone is about to have no king but Caesar." Can you say Christian nationalism? As I have grappled with all this, I've caught myself doing several things. Wanting to take a stand using just the perfect words and feeling paralyzed in the process. Comparing myself to the eloquence or courage of other folks I know and deciding I should just keep my mouth shut because they can say it better. Kicking myself for flagging energy and feeling guilty for being tired because if I really cared, I would just suck it up and do it like so-and-so does. Yates' assertion that the best lack all conviction doesn't really describe me, but my need to say the right things, do the right things, join the right movements, listen to the right news sources, and the tendency to compare myself to others who are doing those things so well causes me to subdue my own passionate intensity instead of investing it for good. When Sabrina Walker asked me for a short description of this sermon, by the way, you can blame her, I sent her this. Things fall apart, reality threatens, how do we cope? How do we cope? Live meaningfully and purposefully within the current realities of life right now. How do we resist the paralysis that can set in when we allow our tendencies toward perfection, toward doing things right, to override our reason and our clear assessment of what we can humanly do? How can we let what we can actually do be good enough? How can we resist beating ourselves up for when we fall short? It's a very difficult thing to just allow ourselves to be good enough. We set high standards for ourselves, the best partner, the best parent, the best friend, the best activist, the best goof member, on and on. Perfectionism, expecting ourselves to be the best at everything, is a plague, a falsity, an illusion, and it can blind us to what is good and paralyze us for what is possible. We're never going to be perfect in the way that we usually think of perfection. No flaws that anyone can see. That's not the only way to define the word perfect. A friend of mine was on a flight that arrived very late, and he had only a few minutes to make his connecting flight home. All the airport restaurants were closed, and he was starving, not having eaten all day. He got to his gate with a few minutes to spare and noticed a vending machine down the hall. So he sprinted down that hall, pulling out his wallet on the way because he had no change. In those pre-credit card vending machine days, he just assumed an airport vending machine would take bills. When he got to the vending machine, he opened his wallet only to find that the smallest bill he had was a $50 bill. And the machine took only quarters. He sighed and probably uttered a choice word. As he turned to walk away hungry, a man who observed all this stopped him and dropped 4 quarters into his hand, smiled and said, "These might be perfect for what you need right now," and walked away. The point of this story, if you were stopped on the street and asked to choose which was perfect, a $50 bill or a quarter, you'd be tempted to choose the 50, right? But in this case, the quarter was perfect. Perfect does not have to mean flawless, highest, greatest, or best. Perfect can mean that which fits the situation best. Perfection can end in ish. In her book, The Gifts of Perfection, Brene Brown offers a way to put this view of perfection into practice. She makes a distinction between healthy striving and perfectionism. She says, healthy striving is self-focused. How can I improve or adapt? How can I fit this moment? Perfectionism is other-focused. What will they think of how I perform? Will I do this right? It's accepting our true selves as the precious, limited, flawed, growing, and changing humans we are, and resisting giving into our false selves that strive to show no chinks in the armor. That's the key for those who think we must be everything to everybody. or solve all the world's problems, or be the perfect whatever. Employing the technique of asking ourselves what we need, what do I have to offer, and how does that fit with what is needed, enables us to assess where our energy can best be invested and how. This approach is much different than comparing ourselves to others or worrying about what anyone thinks about how we handle the situation, or putting unrealistic expectations on ourselves to be fully invested in every situation or issue we think we should be. This is a subtle distinction, but offers a clue to a more gentle way of being in the world. The expectations of others are powerful, and we are conditioned to respond and to act based on what others think, rather than considering what our role is and what we have to give. Brown contends that perfectionism is exhausting, self-destructive, and is often the path to depression, anxiety, addiction, and life paralysis. The alternative, the healthy striving that Brené Brown describes, allows us to be human, to make mistakes, to grow and change, to evolve, to say no, to keep moving toward our true selves, that inner center that can actually hold. I think it also makes us more willing to let others do the same. I have 2 adult children, one in their early 30s and one in their late 30s. In the past 3 years, both have begun to identify as trans, although they express their identities differently. This has called on all of us to grow, change, adapt, and adjust in all kinds of ways, both large and small. And none of us has done this perfectly, not even close. One small way we've dealt with change has been what to do with old family pictures that are hung in our home. For my birthday this year, I asked my oldest for recent pictures to hang that show her true female self. She asked if I planned to take down the outdated male ones. I told her that I would if she needed me to, but that I preferred to leave some of those pictures up because they honored the visual record of the way she had evolved and will continue to remind us that we are all growing, changing, and evolving. She thought for a minute, and she's pretty stubborn. She thought for a minute and then said, "That makes a lot of sense, Mom. Sometimes I can get it right." That's really fine with me. Growing and changing from the inside out is how we evolve, letting ourselves be lifelong learners, students of what it means to be human. And what it means to be human includes vulnerability, grappling with our perceived imperfections, with how we react to mistakes and what we label as failures, and being courageous enough to let the cracks and chinks show. For the remainder of my time today, I want to focus on perfecting imperfection. Rather than striving to try to live up to the expectations and standards of others, or our own perceptions of what perfection looks like. How do we grow, evolve, strive to be healthy, to be good enough, without comparing ourselves or expecting the impossible of ourselves? How do we let what we do come from who we are and what we have strength and energy to invest in, rather than forcing who we are to be dictated by should-dos, supposed-tos, or how we perform or measure up in relation to others around us? We can learn a lot from other cultures about the gifts inherent in our imperfections. Some regions of South Africa have a custom called Ubuntu that honors interconnectedness over individual achievement or failure. Ubuntu means I am what I am because of who we all are. One facet of Ubuntu focuses on confronting a tribal member when they do something wrong. The offender is taken to the center of the village and surrounded by their tribe for 2 days. During this time, the members of the tribe speak aloud of all the good in the person and what good he or she has done. The tribe's belief is that mistakes are opportunities for growth and that each person is good even when they make mistakes. That the ritual of surrounding and affirming an individual who has erred reminds the person of their true nature and expresses the belief that forgiveness, unity, and affirmation have more power to change behavior and hearts than shame and punishment. What would our lives look like if we adopted this practice? The meditation words for today give us another way. Wabi-sabi. Listen again. Wabi-sabi is the Japanese philosophy that takes into account and appreciates the complexities of life, and at the same time values simplicity. It acknowledges and appreciates three qualities in life: that everything is impermanent, imperfect, and incomplete. Instead of struggling with these realities, it seeks to be at peace with them. In other words, saying what is. Nothing lasts, nothing's finished, and nothing's perfect, including ourselves. Wabi-sabi focuses on the long game by honoring imperfection as humanness and focusing on evolving, learning, and changing as ways of living fruitfully. Consistent with this philosophy is a Japanese art form called kintsugi. The word kintsugi comes from the Japanese kin, which means gold, and sugi, which means join, and therefore literally means golden joinery. The art of kintsugi is the art of mending with gold. Kintsugi is a repair technique in which broken ceramic pieces are glued back together to form a new whole. The scars are then covered with real gold. Behind this is the idea that all things are unique, that brokenness is not the end. Kintsugi is a strong metaphor for life. Things do fall apart. We all experience difficulties and traumatic events in our lives. We all feel broken at times. We're not perfect. Applying kintsugi as a metaphor of our lives is freeing. Rather than hiding the cracks and imperfections, we can investigate them, possibly accept them, and find new perspectives in them. Artist and author Jan Richardson describes the impact of kintsugi in this way. And in reality, Ubuntu functions in this same fashion. Richardson writes, kintsugi is an example of how beauty can come from brokenness, from letting the cracks show, while staying open to the beauty and wholeness that love to slip in and take us by surprise. Authenticity, Brene Brown attests, is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect, to set boundaries, and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Exercising the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle. And nurturing the connection and sense of belonging that can only happen when we believe that we are enough. She goes on to say, authenticity demands wholehearted living and loving. Even when it's hard, even when we're wrestling with the shame and fear of not being good enough, and when the joy is so intense that we're afraid to let ourselves even feel it. Mindfully practicing authenticity during our most soul-searching struggles is how we invite grace, joy, and gratitude into our lives. It makes space. It makes space to become fully human beings, which means learning to turn gratitude for being alive into some concrete common good. It means growing gentler toward human weakness. It means practicing forgiveness for my and everyone else's hourly failures to live up to others' expectations or my own. It means learning to forget myself on a regular basis in order to attend to the other selves in my vicinity. And Brown concludes, it means receiving the human condition as blessing and not curse in all its achingly frail imperfection and redemptive reality. In these times, when things seem to be falling apart, vulnerability, authenticity, community, and embracing imperfection and brokenness seem counterintuitive, and maybe even foolish. Ubuntu, wabi-sabi, kintsugi, gifts of imperfection. These wisdom voices and practices can be our teachers and guides as we embrace what feels counterintuitive, but is in reality what makes us more deeply human. We need each other, and we need to let ourselves be the courageous, compassionate humans we are for others, for the causes we care about, for things that matter deeply to us. We also need to turn that same compassion and courage toward ourselves and learn to perfect the art of being authentically imperfect, replacing perfectionism with healthy striving, with perfection-ish. So, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Please rise and join with us together as you're able and willing to sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Lives.
All that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its reward, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build a common good and make our own days glad.
It is time now to extinguish the chalice. Please join me by saying the words on the screen as we do that. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we leave this sanctuary of acceptance and grace to walk into the chaos and creativity of daily life, remember, May we find the courage to release ourselves from the shoulds, the supposed tos, and the temptations to be what others think we should be. May we find the courage to embrace our perfections and see the beauty and humanness in our broken places. May our spirits and minds come alive to the invisible geography of our true selves that invites us to new frontiers, implores us to break dead shells of yesterdays, and compels us to risk living from the inside out. Through the cracks and imperfections of our lives, may we receive fragments of light, glimpses of hope, brief moments of insight, glimmers of joy, love, and laughter. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts they are, and renewed by their grace, move out courageously into the fragile world that needs these gifts we have to offer. Blessings.
Sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. A butcher, a baker, a drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. There is a blue one who can't accept the green one, for living with a black one who's trying to be the skinny one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. We got to sha-sha. We got to live together. I am no better, and neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out the bag I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. There is the long hair that doesn't like the short hair, but being such a rich one that will knock up the poor one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Ooh, sha-sha. Ooh, sha-sha. Ooh, sha-sha. We got to live together. There is the yellow one who won't accept the black one, from the red one who won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. I am everyday people. Ooh, sha-sha.
Jamming it out. Great job. Great. excited that you're living here now and ballet. Okay. Great ballet, that's all. We'll play the hits next week.
Okay. That's something. Hopefully they say cry. I didn't cry this time. Poor times. I know. I saw her crying. All right. We did it. Here. I don't know what to do. I got it. And then I stopped and they keep going. I can't leave. And I'm good. You need to get some. Oh, yeah? I didn't know we worked that far.
Just have to tell you that